Well, with restrictions tightened, travel is now only permitted for legally permitted reasons. Let's get more from our transport correspondent, Tom Edwards. And Tom, the stay-at-home advice for the capital has been the case since Tier 4 restrictions were introduced.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it there. There's this big change in the language. It used to be essential journeys only for travel, and now this phrase has turned up. Legally permitted journeys only means things like going to work and shopping for essentials, but it's a much, much tougher form of messaging. But this lockdown 3, it has had an impact so far on the amount of people travelling. If you compare it to the other lockdowns, I've got the data here. Lockdown 1, for example, back in March, on the buses and the tube before 10 a.m, just 10% of pre-pandemic levels for passengers there. That's about 170,000 people on the buses, for example. Scroll forward to lockdown 2 in November. Then, after a relatively busier summer, the bus numbers were at 50% and the tube at 25%. You remember the kids were still in school then. Now look at this morning. This is the data I've got from this morning. Lockdown 3. Buses have dropped again to 30% and the tube at 18%. That's about 40,000 journeys. So you can see lockdown 3 has cut travel, not as much as lockdown 1, but certainly a lot more than lockdown 2. So it is having this impact.
Yeah, so sort of somewhere in between. And these reductions, Tom, will they have wider implications?
Well, yeah, you'll know this. TfL is struggling financially because it relies on fares, and it's relying at the moment from money from central government. And so it's going to impact on that because fewer people are travelling. TfL, they have until January the 11th to come up with ideas to be self-funding. Road pricing is one of the things that being mentioned by the Mayor, charging people to drive into Greater London from the home counties. In another development, we're also hearing that some of the rail timetables may be cut back. Ministers want to do that because they are looking at ways to cut costs.
And very briefly, Tom, what about international travel?
Yeah, you probably heard it there from the Prime Minister's press conference. He's confirmed they're bringing in measures to ensure they test people who come into this country, something the aviation industry has been calling for months. No detail as yet about that, but lots and lots of changes.